We are live, especially since I hit the button.
Wow, we made it back for week number 2.
We did. I was like trying to get it queued up in the group, and I'm like, why is the video not? Oh no, I didn't hit the live button. So, but now we're good. We're good.
Hit
We're
the
here.
live button. I suppose I should check to see if we are actually live. So anybody who's joining us here, this is our week 2. We decided we're going to start doing some AI training right here into the group. And so this is week 2. They haven't pulled the plug on us yet. So we're just going to keep going. And last week we went into the
enjoy
introduction.
It while you can. Yeah, enjoy it while you can until they do.
Oh yeah, yes. Make sure you get a copy of this. It'll be a collector's item someday. So last week we were talking about MidJourney, got just really the basics of MidJourney out of the way. And next week we're going to talk about MidJourney again. Today we're going to talk about a tool that a lot of people use. It's called MidLibrary. And why don't you go ahead and tell us about it real quick while I get myself a drink of water.
Yeah, I think like what we really want to talk about today is really just like prompting and understanding all these different resources to get inspiration, right? We're funnel hackers, and remember, as funnel hackers, we don't steal, we get inspired. But if you're starting out with AI, it may be hard to figure out exactly what is possible, what the options are, like how far you really can do cool things with AI. And so like that's kind of some of the stuff we want to talk about today, and specifically a website that gives you a whole broad, 3,000 different styles that you can actually see how AI can work with. You can model them, you can use some of them, and then we're going to talk about some of, obviously, the implications and legality and all the things that come along with this wild, wild west of AI that we live in currently.
Yeah, and right now I am putting into the chat here MidLibrary's disclaimer, and I just happened to see it on the bottom of the screen as we were rolling the intro, and I thought it was something important to put in here, give everybody kind of a context of what this is, and we're going to show you the tool here in a second. In fact, Madison wanted to pull up like that page that I had sent you over there a minute ago. And we can pop that up on the screen, because this is a place you can go to get inspiration. This is a place you can go to get ideas. And like I said, I just put the disclaimer into the page here, and it says all content on the MidLibrary catalog is generated by the MidLibrary team using MidJourney AI, et cetera, et cetera. Now, as of right now, because AI is so new, there are some questions. There's some controversy around how did these models get created? Where did the content come from? Turns out there may have been a library of like 5-8 billion pictures, images, or something like that, that was never intended to be used for commercial purposes, but companies like MidJourney and other companies started using this information. And there are a lot of people now who are saying, okay, well, all that was copywritten information. There's a debate, questions about it. We don't know. The only thing that we're going to say is if you use, in particular, the name of an artist. So if you scroll down here on the page, there was names of artists on here somewhere. There's like 78 pages of different stuff here. Some of them are just types like light painting, luminogram, photogram, things like that. But there's others where specific names. Ansel Adams is one I saw on here. So the only thing I would say is if you are creating images inside of MidJourney and you're using a specific artist's name and you're doing it just for yourself, doing it just for fun, not for commercial purposes, certainly not for a client, then don't worry about it. Have fun, do whatever you want. But if you are hired by somebody to create some images for them, and if in your prompt you use the name of an actual artist, minimum, you have to disclose that to your client that you did this. Because, again, the legality of all this is still highly questionable. And so you want your customer to know that you used a particular name. That's what I will say at this point. Probably best practice, again, if you're building for somebody else for commercial purposes, is try to avoid using actual artist names in the first place.
I think that also goes to like what we did on Friday about taking a photo from a brand or a platform or a website and having it reworked, because we know that what we're basically asking the AI to do is to recreate it.
Yeah, it's using somebody else's work. So I take a picture off of somewhere where I don't have the legal right to that picture, and I put it into AI. I re-roll it, tell it to use it as an image prompt or even a style prompt or something else. I'm using somebody else's copywritten material to create mine. Now, they have said that that image that I created, it cannot be copywritten because I did not materially create that image. It was created by the AI. But that doesn't mean that I still haven't blurred the lines as far as the legality of using that image because I didn't have the right to use it in the first place. And so, like I said, don't be surprised, you're not going to see a bunch of litigation going forward on these matters about people, again, using images they don't have the right to use.
I think that's an interesting point too, is like, is tone of voice in terms of ChatGPT, right? Like we know that we can mimic Russell Brunson, Tony Robbins, Oprah, President Obama, whoever you choose, right? Basically, like it's amazing at what you can mimic or have AI think like or act like. And so, like, for example, as of recently, and this is something that I've seen in the last call it 6, 8 months, is um, Amazon's KDP, their Kindle publishing, which allows you to also publish to paperback and hardback book, now asks you to self-report if you have used AI in creation of your book. So
Mhm.
did you use it in terms of writing it? Did you use it in terms of photos or editing of it? And I think like there's obviously where we're going with this is the wild, wild west. There is uncharted waters. Like, what is the legality of using somebody else's tone?
Right. Well, and you talk about tone, but also over on YouTube now, they have a policy that if you used AI to create your video, you have to disclose it. Now, I think they got kind of a caveat in there where it's basically if it's clearly AI generated, then you don't have to do it. But if it's clearly AI generated, why would you do it in the first place? You want to have something that looks realistic. But if it's a cartoon or something like that, I think is what they're saying is you don't necessarily say it was AI generated because most of the cartoons have been CGI generated for the last 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even longer, maybe even back into the 70s. Even you go back to the original Star Wars movies and they were using computer graphics to create a lot of those scenes way back into the 70s even. But you're right about the tone as well, as I could upload every speech by, again, we'll say Barack Obama, like you said. I could upload every speech ever done by Barack Obama and say, okay, give me a speech on this subject in the tone of Barack Obama, because I just uploaded all of that as a PDF right into ChatGPT, and it will then mirror that.
Yeah.
Is that, again, somebody wrote those speeches? I mean, the politicians don't write their own stuff generally. So somebody wrote that speech. Am I then stepping on the toes of that speechwriter? So,
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And it's like you don't even have to upload them. Like they're already there. Like you can already queue into, and it's like it is crazy who you would think would not be there that the AI can do, right? And we're not this long before we even can, have our own custom. Like I have my own custom GPT that I've fed it a whole bunch of stuff that I've said or written. That anytime I get something, I plug it in through there, and it rewrites it in the way that I would say it.
right. I mean, and again, that's one of the great things about these tools is you can go into ChatGPT and say, okay, ask ChatGPT or any of the other LLMs, and you can say, are you familiar with the works of, let's say, Eugene Schwartz? Okay, one of the greatest copywriters of all time. It says yes. You go, great. Okay, I want you to give me X, Y, and Z in a manner that Eugene Schwartz would have given me. and it will take everything it knows about Eugene Schwartz's style of writing and give me a long form sales letter based
Yeah.
upon just, a couple word prompt. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. But so again, part of what we're talking about today is the ethics, the legality. Make sure you don't get into trouble because, again, we're going to show you. Madison has a little video shot here about how to use mid library, but just know the ethical implications going forward and make sure you don't step on anybody's toes, and make sure if you're doing it for somebody else, you disclose to them how you generated that image or that text or video
100%.
coming very soon.
Yeah. Yeah. And we will, try to keep you updated on our Friday shows about anything that we hear in terms of like anything that's changing in terms of legality. And so like you're always up to date on like what is coming next. And just so you know, hey, this is where you maybe need to watch out for, or what you need to watch out for with, or what you need to tell your clients. I think especially when we get into being paid for your services in terms of as a designer, a copywriter, a funnel builder, is really being upfront and honest about like, hey, this is how I created this. This is the tools we use. We use AI, we use MidJourney, we use some inspiration from other people. And just especially right now, you can be honest about things, or you can, might bite you in the butt to be more not as honest and upfront.
Yeah. Now, before we roll that video, can you pull up that page from the MidJourney docs? So if
Oh,
you want the just to get started on this, as we discussed in my video last week, we're going to discuss in the one next week a little bit as well. The you want to go to docs.midjourney.com, and in there under, did you find that page or did you
yeah, I just had to switch screens.
lost it somewhere? Just go in here and start off with the basics. So here we are under explore prompting. It looks like it says on the left sideboard bar there. Just go in there. So docs.midjourney.com, just go in there and explore prompting. So this is the best place to start for the very, very basics of things. Start here. It gives you a lot of different ideas on how to pick a medium, and then scroll down. I forget what the rest of it is, like time frame,
Yep.
specific about the specific type of image you want. You want it to be a watercolor, a drawing. What do you want? You want it to be drawn by a 5-year-old kid, or do you want it to be drawn by a Gothic master? All these kind of things you can put into your prompt, and it will just drastically change the difference. And so as we roll into mid library here, you're going to see, just by changing a single word or two in a prompt, you are going to get just totally different style. So all these prompts, I don't know exactly. Do they actually tell you in here? I forget what the prompt was that makes each of these images.
No,
Or
the only thing that they tell you is this part down here where you add in who it is by, or if we go to the ones that I love, just because I love the look of them and I use them a lot, is the steampunk, cyberpunk. Do we have to go punks? Yeah. Your astropunk, your biopunk, your steampunk, um, your diesel punk, your western punk. But all that it gives you, and say, yep, we understand. Um, this is like what you're gonna put in. We'll obviously go over that in the video. But you can also see like, hey, here are the different ways that it looks in the different versions of MidJourney. Because we know like now we're in version 6. But sometimes, 5.1 to 5.2, there's a big jump. And then now we get into 6. And so you can see like, hey, you might want to go back to a couple different versions. And all you have to do is just type this --v with a number to activate those kind of previous versions. If you're not, I think everybody should be on 6. Is that correct? Like it should be if you
yeah,
create an account.
everybody's got 6 available to them, and 7 should be coming out sometime in the next few months. But sometimes I find that version 5.2 actually gives me better images than version 6 does. But I was
Right.
also going to say in here is, take any word you want and put punk at the end of it, and it'll give you some interesting. I did like, rabbit punk one day, and dog punk, and baby punk, and whatever you want, it'll give you some crazy images. But again, it's just You're talking to a computer and it spits out whatever it wants. And depending on what level of creativity you set in there through your stylize and your weird and your random and all that, yeah, you can just get some outrageous images. But why don't we do this? We got a 30-minute video here, so why don't we get that rolling, and then we'll talk about any issues at the end of it.
Sounds good. All right. In today's lesson, I really want to start to dive into character creation and really doing some really cool things with MidJourney. So, as you guys have seen, a lot of the stuff I've done, I'm gonna actually pull up a couple images here. So as you can see here, here is a good chunk of what I would call AI storytellers. Now, AI storytellers, we are gonna dive into this, but this is not really what I want to cover today, but you can just see like when I talk about AI storytellers in particular, these are highly realistic images of people who could be real people, right? They could be actors, they could be characters, um, they could be in a movie, it could be a TV show, tons of different things. And particularly to do the videos like in Secrets of Success or like we often start this show with, you have to have them be like they have to look like real people, right? We cannot have our space cowboys that look AI, and they are AI, but they don't look like cartoon drawn or type of generative. They really do have to look like real people. And so, as you guys can tell, like prompting has so much more to do with this than really we probably think ultimately it does, because we need this person right here, not these three. Maybe that one might work, but these maybe those two, but those two are definitely, that one's definitely not going to work. um just at initial like first glance, the more realistic, the more photorealistic they look, then ultimately the better chances we are going to have of making this successful. But before we even get to this point, I want to kind of back up for a minute, because what I want to do is I want to show you how we can kind of art hack, maybe we'll call it that, AI hack different artists. And I think for me, a lot of times I need some inspiration. I need to know what's possible. So obviously, over here in MidJourney, when we come into a lot of these newcomer rooms or newbie rooms, it really helps us to see what is possible with AI and specifically MidJourney, right? If we come and we look in like house in the desert, medieval style, tornado, right? Like maybe you wouldn't even think that you could put like those two or three things together, right? House in the forest, theater. We got house in the forest, very detailed, cloudy sky, hot colors, wide angle lens. Like maybe you didn't think wide angle camera lens. Huge depth of field, ultra realism render. Um, wide and clean theater backstage, right? These are all people who are using MidJourney to create these images in these newbie rooms. As you can see, there's a lot of them coming through. I'm just scrolling through them really fast. But now if you draw into this and you're like, I just want something like really cool. I want something that is like I would see in a cartoon. You're very, very specific. That's when we get over here to a platform called Mid Library. And what this is a database of different styles and filmmakers and illustrators. And now, what I wanted to bring this up with is because we can still utilize, let me get the right screen up. So like one example of pulling in mid library is in terms of creating our AI storytellers in cinematic styles of some of our favorite directors, um, film creators, illustrators. Obviously, like I said, we got to be careful about making them, they still have to look realistic. But for example, this photo right here, get this to open up. This photo right here is something that we actually ran as a video, and I'm actually going to play that right now.
Monster realm, where digital entrepreneurs roamed, there was a time of chaos and despair. A monster found herself in a dire situation. Her online venture had hit a crisis. Sales plummeted, the website crashed, and customers were in turmoil. She tried every remedy she knew, but nothing seemed to work. It was a roadblock that threatened to bury her dreams beneath the rubble of her shattered aspirations. At ground zero, she realized that she needed help. Help beyond the realm of ordinary solutions. The severity of her situation demanded an extraordinary remedy. It was then that she discovered the existence of the elusive medic monster. Summoning the medic monster was not a decision to be taken lightly, but she had no other choice. With bated breath,
Okay, so as you guys can see, like I made that storyteller from this image right here. We added a couple other things. We're going to get into that. But as you can see, I probably would not have come up with this exact prompt if I had not been able to use and leverage mid-library because of this to zoom back down. Because of this key thing right here, storyteller by Michael Bay. And Michael Bay is a director. And I found that that makes a really cool prompt. That makes a really cool style of photo. So we can utilize these types of cinematic aspects, these artists, these people that the AI has been trained on in the realm of, now here we go. Now I'm getting down the whole AI thing in the realm, in the way of pulling that inspiration into our photos. And so like ultimately my passion, I love making these storytellers, the AI storytellers, but for right now, let's just get some inspiration and let's design hack, art hack, AI hack some of our favorite artists, illustrators, and directors and cinematic people. So I discovered this program, this website called mid-library. And I think for me, helping me to see different things, helping me to see just what is the potential that I could have? What is the potential this could create? And then we're going to utilize some of these. So obviously, you guys can see there's some styles by category, and this is midlibrary.io, midlibrary.io. We have different styles, we have different features, so maybe we just need to like look at Vivid, right? Space Odyssey, 3D graffiti. So let's go, let's look at 3D graffiti. And you can see how it's been different in the different versions of MidJourney, right? We can see it start to evolve. So let's jump back over to Discord, to MidJourney, and try a couple of these out. So now I'm back over here in MidJourney, and I am going to say, remember we always start with Imagine, Funnel Hacker, logo. I'm going to go back to mid-library, and I'm going to grab, I'll do version 6. All I have to do is come over here and copy and go. And I'm just going to add in the style of, and Dan's going to talk a lot more about style references coming up and a lot of other cool things, but I like to say this is the simple and easy way to do this. So as that's going, we're actually going to just duplicate this tab so we can keep that open. And we're going to go back to and grab a different type of style. So maybe we're going to get, like, as you can see, there is some like really impressionist art. There's some like really abstract art. There is some really cool designs. There's just tons of different options here. And I think the coolest thing about this is like, you can really see and get a feel of what is possible. And I think that's the number one thing that, especially if you're starting out with AI, you do not know exactly all the possibilities. And as somebody who is super visual, I kind of need to be able to see something to know, like, oh, I can do that. That's why I love design hacking websites and building them in ClickFunnels, because I can see what's possible and break it down. Like, so here's like Bambi. Let's check to see if we got anything coming through. All right, well, those are, I don't know that they're funnel hacker logos. I'm not sure exactly kind of what those are, but they are definitely something. So I'm gonna go over and grab probably a different prompt. I guess I still have our paramedic guy open. So let's do this instead. Let's grab our paramedic guy and let's go over and let's grab the one that's like Bambi and a lot of like original Disney style drawings. And so all you gotta do is copy and paste like that. Paste that in and hit enter. And while that is waiting to start, we can come back and continue to look in here. Now what we also do is also have all styles at the top. We have ways that we can search for different styles. There is, oh my gosh, do you see how many? There's like thousands of different styles that we can use here. We can also come through here and use these filters. So we're gonna say we want filmmakers who do cinematic, right? And we're gonna scroll down here. So we have like Christopher Nolan. So maybe this is gonna be like a good, different take on, all right. See over here, we have like our paramedic, right? Our medic guy, our medic monster. And he is very much done in a Disney drawing type of style, right? Much different than what we had in our video. And remember, the video is done in the style of Michael Bay. Very, very much different than like a Disney cartoon, right? So now we're going to grab Christopher Nolan, which is going to give us something even more completely different. And all I got to do is just grab that. Come back over here, paste it in. I could add an aspect ratio if I wanted to. Remember, Dan showed us that last week. I'm going to let that one go while I come back. And let's see what else we got. So I can show my filters again. I already got filmmaker, cinematic. Maybe I want to get rid of cinematic and I want to go retro. So I got like the Stanley Kubrick. And say I want to go back, and a lot of times the warning will be is you most likely will get the person a lot of times. That is kind of like the only caveat. So let me grab this part. So I'm just gonna keep this going. Okay. And now I'm going to take this one. This one's going to use MidJourney version 5.2. And like I said, we can see here that each version of MidJourney has changed the imagery of the style just a little bit. So you guys are kind of starting to see like how the look of this artist, this person that the AI has been trained on, it makes it something different every time, right? Like there is unique differences between each one of these individuals. Now, we'll go back to this one. I think this might actually have pulled the guy, right? And we can see that is definitely some more retro type of paramedics coming to save your life. And so we can kind of just keep going down this rabbit hole into this world of really making some cool, unique, distinct features, some distinct imagery, right? We go into like psychedelic. Let's take retro off. Like we got Spike Lee, right? We want to make sure that we don't have so much of the getting the actual person. That's gonna be like the only caveat I'm gonna say. That is sometimes what you're gonna have to play with a little bit. So let's do like this one. Now this one's gonna get us in the realm where this is probably not gonna be the best for an AI storyteller because we're not going to have a face to utilize. Get rid of the X at the front of that. So I'm going to use version 4.6. I'm just going to pull in photo just so I don't try to mitigate getting the actual person in the image. Now, if we go back up here we can see all of these different styles, all these characters, all these features. So say maybe we go more like cute, right? Primary theme is cute. And maybe we're actually going to use like Astro Boy for our next one. You always got to make sure you don't get a little too trigger happy, and you got to write all of the image, the imagine prompt, all the image prompt in there. So I'm going to take Astro Boy V6. So as you guys are starting to see, like with this mid library, we have tons of different options, tons of different ideas, tons of inspiration, tons of really cool, unique things that we can actually utilize. So say we're going to go with DreamWorks, right? We're using the same exact prompt for the most part and getting very uniquely different photos every single time. Everything from this, I would call it like 90s Disney cartoon to our very dramatic, more like Dark Knight type imagery. And I think this is a really cool thing. Like when we start to really dive into how can we make videos and photos and talking avatars and talking storytellers. So the whole reason behind the storytellers is because it really is telling a story. They are not just simply an AI avatar. Because there's other elements that go into the back of it to be like a storyteller, right? We got retro. I think that's probably pulling this guy. Pulling Stanley's photo into it a little bit, I think, because they all kind of look the same. But then this is the only caveat I would say is a lot of times you're going to grab that. It's going to pull the actual the person. And that is obviously just something you got to play around with. But like your Astro Boy down here has little medic, right? Little plus, maybe he's a little more as a medical professional than Astro Boy. But you know, we have Oh yeah, we're gonna try. Let's try one last one and try DreamWorks before we wrap this up. And I think this is the really cool, like the beauty of AI is you just kind of have to go around and play with it, right? You're just gonna have to discover new things, and you're gonna be super excited when you discover them, and you're like, there is no way that I could do that, or I didn't know how to do that before, um, and have a lot of fun and a lot of really cool time just discovering and playing around with this technology and what is possible and how you can put this all together. So we're gonna wait for this to queue and then we'll be back. Now, as you can see, this has popped up here. I think the interesting thing is obviously that it actually created a female with this, but this is very DreamWorks style and true to their artistic style and really what they would create. So as you guys can see, you have tons of different options on how to stylize your photos and utilizing tools like Mid Library to give you some inspiration, to give you some ideas, to pull from a lot of, you want old-timey photos, you want like painted type photos. There is tons of options to come through here. We can go fashion designers, we can go illustrators, and go painters, right? We have 1.5 million different, maybe not a million, but we got a couple thousand definitely options in terms of photos to build and inspiration to have, and utilizing this in our AI photos, our AI storytellers, and our funnels, in our marketing material. And really, if you're trying to figure out, I really love the look of Tom Ford or Gucci or something like that, and I want to add in Gucci to a funnel hacker, or I need to come through and style Tommy Hilfiger or Ralph Lauren, right? And you might think, I don't know if that's possible. Like, I don't think I can actually get a, let's see, let's see if we can do this. Let's go back. And I'm going to create another channel. If you guys, we showed you this last week. So I'm going to just create like a funnel hacker channel. Let's say slash. Imagine. And I'm going to come over here and grab my Tommy Hilfiger prompt. As you can see, like how this style has evolved throughout the different versions of AI, right? So say I'm like, I really love V5. And I come through here, I'm going to grab it like this. Now, while this is also doing this, I'm going to copy this again. And I'm going to make this 5.2. And I'm going to copy it one last time, and we're going to make it 6. All right, we're going to wait, let this come and process. We're almost there, and then we'll check out our. So now we're back, and as you can see, we have a few different versions. Each one of them looks, I don't think it quite got Funnel Hacker. Maybe Funnel Hacker and Tommy Hilfiger are just two separate different worlds. But we did say it's obviously pulling like success. Maybe I think probably V5.2 version 5.2 is probably going to give us the most accurate with like the laptop and all of that. But as you can see, definitely the red, white, and blue, very, very aligned with Tommy Hilfiger. The vertical lines, very, very much in line with Tommy Hilfiger. The colors are very, very much in line, especially these two down here. The red is so uniquely Tommy Hilfiger. And obviously we can see come through like this. Now, we could also say, let's go like this, slash imagine. So we can also do something like, hey, we know that, I believe if I'm correct, I think I am correct on this, that the a lot of like the clothing for like the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, the USA Olympic team is actually done by Tommy Hilfiger. So let's say we're going to put the team is on the moon in 2055. Maybe that is the next realm for sports. And that's where we're going with it. So let's see what this comes up with, utilizing something that's more aligned with the common style. Like it's not like far-fetched to have a funnel hacker be Tommy Hilfiger, but as this is buffering and rendering here, it's starting to come in. And of course, oh, moon suits. Of course, they would be in moon suits. I don't know if they're in Tommy Hilfiger moon suits or not, but maybe the moon is not the best place. Big team. On the beach in LA. And I think is that 28? It's 28 in LA. But we got some really cool moon athletes, moonleets. You know, on the moon. And that's what I think like AI can sometimes take you very literally. And you're like, no, I wanted to, but that's okay, AI. That's all right. And so while this is cooking, we'll be wait. Oh, here it's coming in. As you can start to see how it kind of pulls in the different images. All right, so now we have our Olympic athletes in our Tommy Hilfiger. I think probably this one. I guess we gotta make sure we're not getting any trademark infringements here with the Olympic rings. But as you guys can see, you can utilize tools like MidLibrary to give you inspiration to help you come up with images for your funnels, for your marketing. Obviously, you don't want to portray that you're starting your own fashion line and that you're Tommy Hilfiger. Obviously, use everything ethically, but you can utilize this as inspiration when you funnel hack, design hack, AI hack, any type of thing for your marketing material.
Okay. All right. Well, anybody who didn't catch the beginning of this, we want to just go back through the disclaimers and caveats we made at the very beginning, which was if you are using somebody's name, like you used Tommy Hilfiger quite a bit here in the second part of this, Stanley Kubrick, who made the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, in case you didn't know who Stanley Kubrick was. I could tell when you kind of stumbled on his name there. I think it was 2001, right? Wasn't it? Because that was, when you think about that, that was 20 years ago. Huh. We don't have.
I know we didn't exceed the expectations of.
Yeah, we don't have a space station yet. I don't know what's wrong, but either way, if you're using somebody's name, if you're doing it for yourself for fun, goofing around, making, if you put in like one of the Mario Brothers characters, you put them into MidJourney, and you will get almost exactly what you asked for. Same thing with pictures like Marilyn Monroe. Sometimes you get some that look just like her. What we're saying here, though, is if you use somebody's name in particular, do not use it for commercial purposes. Or if you do, if you're hired by somebody, make sure you disclose to them that you use that particular name when creating your image. That's just basically is to cover your butt, because right now everything is up in the air as far as what the laws are going to be on this stuff. Are there copyright concerns? Yeah, there's copyright concerns. There's all kinds of concerns at this point. So just CYA when doing this stuff so that you don't get into trouble and that the person you are doing it for, your customer, also does not get in trouble. So just full disclosure that you let them know if you used a personal name. Otherwise, as you see here, as you're putting in stuff, and I think I showed this in my very first video last week, is if you just put in a dog. If you put in a dog and you run that like on version 5.2, it will give you a watercolor painting of a dog. But if you do a dog on version 6, it will give you a dog on a beach. I don't know why it associates dogs with beaches. So just changing just the tiniest thing, one single word in your prompt will completely change all of the images that you get back. So it's really a matter of just playing around with this thing and finding stuff. And then when you find a great image, then be able to take that image and then start being able to work with it and move forward with that.
100%. I'm going to pull up mid library one last time because even if you don't use the styles on it, there is tons of additional resources on here that talk about really utilizing MidJourney, referencing photographer styles, upscaling, what is V3.6, what is V5.2, and you can really get into the weeds on a lot of this. And I know this is some of the stuff we're going to dive into in the coming weeks, but this is a great resource to get some inspiration, to get some ideas, to kind of see how the different versions of MidJourney works. And then obviously there's tons of additional information. And of course, right up here at the top, you can obviously support them on Patreon and get some additional resources there. But like I said, this is completely free, I believe. I think if you want to save references, then that requires the paid Patreon. It's like $4.
Yeah. And as Madison was running her video there, I was looking at the mid guide right here, which is what she's showing you right now. And I found an article. It's called Mimetic Style Emulation in MidJourney. It's a little hard to say. Mimetic Style Emulation. And what the guy basically did, and he's one of the guys who created this site, is he took he found an image and he wanted it to be in this particular person's style, but he did not anyway use the name of that person. So he found an image that was in this person's style, but was not actually done by this person, and then took that into MidJourney and used the describe function. So you can actually put an image in there and you can say, describe this image, and it will spit out for you 4 different descriptions. Well, he then re-rolled this 4 times, got 16 different descriptions, took all of those, put them into a PDF or something, and then went into ChatGPT and said, okay, I want you to give me a table looking at all these different descriptions, put in here, break out what the subject is versus what the context is versus what the artistic technique and all these different modifiers. And it goes right through everything in here. And he said, break this out into a table. And then he took that table and distilled it down into a CSV file, fed that back into MidJourney, and then it started pumping out images that were exactly what he wanted in the style that he wanted. And he did not actually use that person's name at all. So just be aware there are ways around it.
Yeah, I think that's probably a great example is like, if you're not sure what you want to get for your, like, say you're building an AI storyteller and you're not sure how to get that stylistic thing that you want. It's also great if you're design hacking, you're cloning a website, you're building something for a client to see as like a demo. Feed that image in as a describe. And maybe we'll go over that on Friday. and then take out the parts of it and use this like as like your brainstorming part of like utilize these actor or these directors and these cinematographers and these artists and use that as like I'm just brainstorming. I'm getting data, and then when you find the one that you fit, or maybe there's 2 of them. Maybe you like 2 of them, you kinda wanna split the difference, or you want to make a few tweaks and changes, you can use Describe to do that.
Yeah, and as you said, 2 images, it made me think of there's also a function inside of MidJourney called blend, where you
Yeah.
could take 2 images, and with the blend function, you can blend them together and you can change the weight on each one and just kind of tweak it back and forth until you get exactly the image you're looking for. But starting with 2 images you already had created or actually got from somewhere else, they could be actually photographs that you took yourself. And then you say, blend these 2 together. Or one could be a photograph and one could be a background image of some sort that you created in MidJourney, and you can blend those together as well, and you don't have to use Photoshop or anything else crazy like that. So the sky is really the limit on what you can put out here. And just talking, she just mentioned a minute ago about our Friday show. On Friday, we may have to show them the videos that you created over the weekend of a certain Russell Brunson, and because going forward, I can guarantee everybody this: within 6 months, we are going to see fully realistic, lifelike videos of everybody speaking in foreign languages, and their mouths are going to be perfectly lip synced to the words in the foreign language. And some people may like that, some people may not like that, but it's coming to a neighborhood near you soon.
100%, and we might, for sake of not portraying, the wrong people, we might use ourselves, but yes, we did test this, um, because we were curious, and we did test it with some old videos of Russell's, and it is amazing. Now, obviously, we're only hoping that I don't speak Korean, I don't speak Portuguese, I don't really speak Spanish. Maybe I can grab a few words of Italian back from when I took it in college. So we're hoping that it's saying the right things. But I didn't even tell you this. I did rerun one of the Portuguese ones back into English, and it did make sense. It was interesting that it didn't put it back into like the original video I fed it. But it's close. It's similar. There's some differences to it, but
Hmm, that's interesting. But the lip syncing matched up still perfectly.
not 100% perfect. I think because of it wasn't 100% perfect when it was one of those ones off YouTube. So what
Yeah.
we found is we found videos off YouTube don't perform as well as um, videos that are maybe a little higher quality, like on Vimeo, or videos that would be like just like our own videos. Because obviously, I think there must be some downscaling in YouTube videos.
Well, yeah, I think that's definitely it. Is what is the word I'm looking at? The resolution on it, the pixel
Yes.
rate, the whatever it is.
Could be the
Definitely,
bit rate
yeah,
of the video, and yeah,
yeah. The even the playing speed, that
yes,
can make a difference too.
yep.
But this technology exists out there now where, so again, somebody could take a video of me right now speaking if they were recording this, and it would not only could it make me speak in Korean, but it would make my mouth look as though I was speaking in Korean as well. And so this is a technology that we will all see within the next coming months. And as all the people in the AI world like to say, is this is the worst it's ever going to be. Meaning the
Other than
technology
if
is
they kill
only,
us all.
well, yeah, the technology is only going to get better from here. So if you see a lip sync video and you go, oh, well, they were off a little bit there. Well, give them a month or
Yeah,
2, and they'll have that corrected. And this video that we tested this on of Russell, he actually one point completely turns his head to the side, and the mouth, you lose it at that point. You definitely lost the lip sync at that point when he turned his head to the side. But beyond that, it was very, very close. Now, the one thing I noticed with the Korean version of it was Russell would be talking and he's like moving his hands. And in the English version, his hands are moving out as he's talking. And so It's like right here is where he stops talking when his arms are way out here. Well, in the Korean version, his arms are like about right here when he stops talking, but his arms keep going out. So clearly, the Korean version took less words and less time to say them. But when his words stopped being uttered on, when you stopped hearing the words, his mouth also stopped moving. His arms
Right.
kept moving outward, but his mouth stopped because, again, the lip sync on it was matched perfectly to the words that it had generated. So it's
Well,
just incredible technology.
and we do know Russell's probably a good test because he does talk really fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for them to even add in pauses, if like it takes less words, it's pretty, it's crazy. It's pretty, it is weird. And it works for multiple speakers too. So we have some cool things coming on Friday and in the coming weeks.
Yeah, lots of stuff coming up here. So again, next week we will be back again on Monday and Friday. We'll be here, of course, again this Friday as well. Again, Friday's Q&A. So if you got any questions, drop them below these videos here, and we'll answer them on Friday. Also on Friday, we go over the latest AI news of the week, and we also are going to demonstrate some stuff this week. I may demonstrate Perplexity, which is super cool. And there's so many AI engines, search engines. Perplexity is known as an answer engine out there now. And I sent Madison a video last night of a guy who claims to have tested 1,200 different AI tools and broke it down to his top 50 AI tools. And so there's so much going on in this world. It's just absolutely crazy that on Mondays, we're going to focus deep dives on specific tools that are very popular and being used by a lot of people. Friday, we're going to get a little further afield. And so next Monday, we're going to be back onto MidJourney again. I already have the video shot and ready to go. And again, we're going to be deep diving into how to use MidJourney, all with the purpose of, in the end, being able to create absolutely photorealistic images that we can use for videos and also for ad creatives. And because in the end, we're going to eventually show how to take one image, make it into multiple images, which then you can make into dozens, if not hundreds, of ad creatives, and basically all do it in one shot in like less than an hour. So that's the direction we're going here. So you're going to be able to create a ton of content to be able to use it and test it in your ads, on your web pages, anywhere you need to. And we're also going to do some chatbot training as well, probably starting, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks from now. So we got a lot of stuff to do. We could do an hour every day and not even scratch the surface on this stuff. Is so crazy.
Yes, 100%. So keep an eye out in the group and make sure to catch Friday's show because it's going to be, we might have a special guest that speaks a different language. Who knows? You never know, right? Open loop. Open loop.
We have to get the proper paperwork signed before going forwards. All the disclaimers, something like that. So,
if not, it'll be Spanish Dan and Spanish Madison.
Yeah, well, I've got nothing else. You can use my old ugly mug here. Make me speak in Santa Claus or something. So, yes. All right, that's all I got. So, Madison, wrap it up and let's get out of here.
All right. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed it. Go out, play around inside MidJourney, Mid-Library. Get some of your favorite so your favorite photos. Let us know what you got. Let us know what you create. Whatever you come up with. We can't wait to see. We'll see you guys all on Friday.
All right.